shots fired on every front. This has a high volume of concern on every front that you turn here.
And I want to sort of take you through the timeline that Sean Kelly gave us a little while ago. We've been telling you that around 10:30, 10:45 in the evening was when the first incident happened on the MIT campus, and we subsequently learned that this MIT campus police officer had multiple gunshot wounds and has died as a result of that. We believe that he was responding to some sort of a disturbance at Vassar and Maine at the Stata Center. Subsequently, thereafter, around 11 or 11:15, things escalated, and there was apparently some sort of a search for suspects at two crime scenes, 816 Memorial Drive, two gas stations, a Shell and a Mobil station, I believe. And from there, that's where we first started hearing reports of a carjacking around 12:30, that there were two armed men who had apparently stolen a Mercedes, possibly kidnapped someone. We understand that person is safe now. But then this all moved from Memorial Drive all the way over to Watertown, to Laurel and Dexter Streets, and also Mount Auburn and Lloyd Streets. These were the two areas, and the distance in between where all of this police activity is going on, where this heavy police activity and law enforcement presence is going on. We also heard 24 gunshots. We heard of bombs being detonated or explosives being detonated. Now, they may have been intentionally detonated, but nonetheless.
So we have new pictures of the bombing suspects just released by the FBI. Take a look. These are new headshots of the two bombing suspects. On the left is suspect number one. That's the way the FBI has described him. On the right is suspect number two. The fellow on the right, this is a straight-on shot. In one of the previous shots, he has a very distinctive profile, so perhaps that you can recognize that. John Atwater, forgive me, John Atwater, can you hear me?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, hey, Ed, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Where are you, John?
We're just down the ways from where Todd is. We're on Mount Auburn, but a couple blocks west of Lloyd Street. I just want to bring in Mark Tripp here. He lives in this neighborhood, and it's just about, 45 minutes ago now that you heard yet another explosion. And this explosion, I'll let you explain it, Mark, was on Spruce Street, which is just behind us. You see some police cars here. You don't see all the activity because they're down about a block.
Yeah, it sounded like an M80, like a fireworks going off. It kind of was pretty loud. But
and just to be clear, this was just a half hour, 45 minutes ago. These weren't the explosions that Sean was talking about earlier in the night.
No, I don't know what he heard earlier in the night, but we came down here just to see what was going on because of the sound. I thought it was kids playing with fireworks, being school vacation and all. And they're literally, the police are coming out of every yard in the neighborhood, up and down the street. Automatic weapons out. They seem to be looking for somebody and knowing what they were wearing because when they saw me, they just said, "Turn around, walk away." Put distance between you and here, and that's pretty much what I was doing, getting out of there.
And you also mentioned a bag of explosives of some kind.
I overheard the officers saying that there was a bag of what he called grenades that had been thrown to the side, and they were sending a SWAT truck down to pick them up and to take them away. There was, some sort of an explosive in it.
And again, just behind us here, this is Spruce Street, and a ways down Spruce Street, you mentioned, we're not able to go down there, but there may be some damage down there.
Yeah, the stadies were talking about ballistic damage from some sort of an explosion that went off. That's what I heard. It must have damaged the house, and somehow they were running through the neighborhood and must have tossed them aside. And he was referring to the ballistics damage.
And again, just to be clear here, we're a couple blocks west of where Sean and Todd are, so this is just down Spruce Street, which kind of curves around. So not clear exactly how this is all connected here, but we've seen, a lot of police officers in this area going down Spruce Street. But you also saw down Mount Auburn someone lying face down on the road. He was alive, but what did you make of that situation?
He was covered with these laser pointers. It looked, and I heard an officer say, "Move, and I'll put a bullet in your head." And they weren't kidding. And that man was not moving.
So to you, it seemed like he was a suspect.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was face down, hands out in front of him, toes to the ground, and pointers on him, like laser pointers, it looked like, yeah.
And how long ago was this, just for a point of reference?
Maybe 40 minutes ago.
Okay.
About 40 minutes.
Did you see them take him into custody?
No, they were clearing everybody back. There was at least 50 officers there from every different town, transit, stadies, everybody. And they all had automatic weapons, and they were like, literally backing everybody away, move back now. And it wasn't anything that you wanted to, stand around.
Did you get the sense they were afraid he might have explosives on him?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they weren't taking any chances that this man could have had something on him, and they were clearing the area in case something, dramatic happened, something terrible.
So as Mark and I stand here, we're just watching as police go back and forth here. But again, this is Spruce Street. You can't see the activity down that street there, but that's where police are right now. Not clear exactly what they're doing. Mark had heard maybe some damage to a building down there. But again, we're just a few blocks west of where Sean and Todd are right now.
News Center 5's John Adwire on the scene. That was a very descriptive conversation. The laser pointers directly pointed at a person straight down on the ground. I mean, you can imagine the firepower that was around him.
And to hear Mark say that he heard the officer say, "Move and I'll put a bullet in you." I mean, clearly they mean business tonight.
Yeah.
With whatever is going on, whomever they are trying to capture right now, this is a very serious situation. A huge police presence, and it continues to unfold at this hour. Now it's 2:45 in the morning.
And the helicopter's still in the air. And Watertown residents, if you're watching this and you live in Watertown, stay inside, please. Stay inside. The police still want you to stay in, and as you heard the conversation that John was just having there, police are polite but firm, but they want you to stay inside. It's for your own safety, so doing these stay inside. I want to put the new pictures we have of the bombers back up on the air, so you can see them. And the pictures that the FBI presented a little earlier were actually for what they were very clear.
They were very
now these are newer
more
images.
clear. These are more clear. The person on the left has been described as suspect number 1. He had a black baseball cap on, and he was carrying a black backpack right on Gloucester and Boylston Street. And then we saw just a few feet, maybe 5-6 feet behind him, suspect number 2, who is on the right, who has the white cap on, turned backwards, and he had sort of a lighter color backpack. And they were walking down Boylston Street in the same direction that the marathoners were running, and they were on the opposite side of the street, seen in the video that we had, opposite of the Lenox Hotel, opposite of the Prudential Center. So it's not on that side, but on the opposite side where the Starbucks, the Forum, where those bombs were placed near the finish line. They have been seen to have dropped one bag. One of the suspects was seen leaving a bag and walking away. And these are the images that were just released, but the first time we saw the pictures of the suspects was around 5 o'clock this afternoon when the FBI finally updated us on the information. They considered these two gentlemen, and I hesitate to use the word gentlemen, these two men, these two suspects, as armed and dangerous. Armed and dangerous. Those are the FBI's words.
And they were clear about that.
They were very clear about that.
And when you heard armed and dangerous, that got your attention that they were considered armed and dangerous. So you're.
And clearly, they were trying to engage the public, calling it an electronic dragnet of sorts. That they were trying to engage the public to release these images and asking people, take a look at your photos. Do you see either of these two men in your photos that you may have taken? Did you see either of these two men moments before? We know that the pictures that we had earlier were time-stamped as 2:37, so that was about 12-13 minutes prior to the bombing. Police were asking you to look at your photos and send them any additional information that you possibly could and call them at 1-800-CALL-FBI if you had anything that could possibly shed any light on who these two men are.
I'm looking at there's so many video sources that are coming into News Center 5. So one by one we are seeing, I am seeing little pieces, and we're trying to piece together exactly what is going on here live. The picture of these two bombers is the freshest piece of video that we can show you in terms of their likenesses and what they were wearing at the time, and obviously the issue would be, do you recognize anything? Do you recognize a hat? Do you recognize the sunglasses? Do you recognize the smile, for example, on suspect number 2's face? But that kind of thing. Those are the kind of clues that they're putting out there, the type of information that they are searching.
And the FBI is saying to us this afternoon the identification and finding these two men was of the highest priority. And they were determined that they were going to capture these two men, and we don't know if this is in any way at this point in time connected to what is going on in Watertown, but clearly there is a lot of new information coming out right now, a lot of activity in Watertown, and it is a very, very active scene and has been for quite some time tonight.
Well, you could, again, you were looking at this is, I believe, videotape of earlier in the evening, but the types of weighted response that has been to what was effectively, it turned into a carjacking. Did it start out as a murder in Cambridge, where an MIT officer was shot and killed? And then did it become a carjacking, and then did it become a shootout on the street in Watertown? All three of those pieces, all part of what happened. Those are the dots that we are busily trying to connect, or we're trying to see. We're not trying to connect them. We're trying to see if they are connected. Now you're back live to the same scene that we've been showing.
And I believe this is the Mount Auburn Lloyd Street location. As we've been telling you, we've had a couple of reporters out on scene right now. Todd Wallace has been at this location around the area of Mount Auburn and Lloyd. They were moved back to a couple of blocks to Bigelow. Then there was another scene, which was initially the first scene where News Center 5's Sean Kelly first responded to, which is at Laurel and Dexter Street.